So let me just explain where we're at so far. Um, the engine was overheating. For like a year, it would just randomly be overheating and then drop back down. The temperature was erratic, and just recently it started getting way worse. Where after about 15 to 20 minutes of driving, it would go to hot and pretty much stay there. Even if you slow down or let your foot off the gas, it would still kind of stay around hot or 1 bar below the hot mark. So it was time to take major action because that could cause major engine damage if the engine's overheating like that. And the first thing I did is I checked the coolant levels. And as you can see, here is the coolant radiator overflow reservoir, and it's full. It's nasty looking, but it's full. Looks like gravy. It's pretty gross, but it's past maximum. There's maximum. It's past that. You can see it. So that was good, and so that means normally when you're overheating, you probably have a leak in your radiator or a leak in one of your radiator hoses, but that ruled that out right away. And the next easiest thing to check is, do these fans turn? These fans down here should turn. These are the fans for your condenser coils for your air conditioner, and these fans also double as your radiator fans. They draw air in from the grill. They help to suck air through these little fins of the radiator. And I already checked the fins as well. They're all clear. They're not clogged up real bad. So anyways, I let the car run for like 15 or 20 minutes, and I checked, and the fan was running. Both fans. There's 2 of them on this car. So a fan here was spinning hardcore, and the fan right here was spinning hardcore. So that ruled out the fan relay switch not working, and it ruled out the fan terminals being shorted out or cut or short circuited or whatever, or open circuit, I mean. So with the fans working and there not being a leak, that starts to narrow it down quite a bit. Oh, and another side note, the heater does not blow hot air, and it didn't blow hot air last winter. The whole winter, my wife relied on her heated seats, but her heater was not working. So I believe that's related to this problem. And I believe the problem is a stuck closed thermostat. So here's a new thermostat I bought. You have to buy it complete with the assembly. Unlike some cars where you just buy the thermostat, this one you have to buy it as a whole unit. This was $37 from Advanced Auto Parts and O'Reilly's. They're both around 37 bucks. But I found you can buy the same thing from California if you order it online for $13 if you're willing to wait 3 or 4 extra days. That would be the way to go. But we needed this car fixed ASAP, so my wife said to just buy this. She'd rather have a car back. It's worth more than the 20 bucks or whatever we saved by waiting. So I just went ahead and bought it. Kind of sucks. Now the thermostat, if it's stuck closed, it will prevent the coolant from being able to travel through the whole system, and specifically through the radiator intake. So it won't get cooled by the radiator, whose job is to cool the fluid, or the fluid, the coolant. So this is a very important part, and I did read that if this is stuck closed, that will also prevent the fluid from flowing through the heater core, which is like another heat exchanger with fins that's located just inside your firewall, and that converts the hot fluid that cools the engine, which is always going to be warm because it's passing through the engine. That blows a fan through that and blows that into your cabin, transferring heat off of the coolant and into your cabin in the form of air. It's a heat exchange system. And it could be that heater core is clogged and needs to be flushed or replaced, or it could be that the thermostat is blocking the flow of the whole coolant system, so it's just stagnant, and so it's not traveling through the heater core, bringing that fresh hot fluid to the heater core, where then it will blow onto you. So I specifically read that this could cause that as well. Multiple sources. This is the most likely culprit. It's also the first thing on the list of things to troubleshoot. If you have a check engine light, I believe it's P1217, overheating engine for Nissan. This was the first thing listed as the most common cause. So for many reasons, I believe this is the thing to go after next. I don't think it's the temperature sensor switch, because why is my temperature seeming to be accurate? It's not like just doing anything sporadic anymore. It's seeming pretty accurate these days. And I think the sporadic jumps is when this suddenly decides to open or suddenly decides to close, because it's lodged and dislodged, and it's not dependable. So that was causing the wild fluctuations over the years as this thing started to fail. So anyways, that's why I'm doing this. I can always go back and start troubleshooting more stuff, like, is it a busted water pump, or is it a blocked heater core, or are these fans intermittently failing later on in the process, and that's why it's happening. But most of it points to this. So before I go troubleshoot those lesser likely things, I'm just going to throw a part at. I know you're not supposed to throw parts at cars, but this is not the most expensive part in the world. So I think in this case, I mean, I'm so confident from what I read that this is the problem, that I'm just going to go for it and replace this thing. So that gets you guys caught up on all the logic going into this and what brought us to here. Alright, first step, unscrew radiator drain plug and let it drain into my oil pan, and unscrew radiator cap to aid the draining. That's our first step. Alright, here. That's the plug. It's the drain plug. Requires a Phillips head screwdriver. I'm taking off the radiator cap so it'll drain better. Alright, took the plug all the way out. That made a big difference. Alright, actually it's not as dirty as I thought it was going to be. here's how it looks. I see some crud falling out, but it's not like filthy. I've seen much worse. So that's kind of good. I'm still going to do a system flush, but I don't know. I might just flush it once with water before I fill it, instead of multiple flushes. Next thing I gotta remove this. Looks like it's 2 bolts. 1 bolt here, 1 bolt here. I believe they're 10 millimeter. Yeah, they're 10 millimeter. It's to gain access to the thermostat. And the thermostat is down right here. I'm touching the casing. Casing in this orientation. It's about 13 inches down from where my left hand is right now. I always spray with penetrating oil and tap the heck out of stuff to induce vibrations to loosen them up, because I've broken every bolt I try to remove, no matter where it is on the car, and I'm sick and tired of it. I'm not going to break any more bolts. Drain plug's back on. Here's the final. That is not that bad. I've seen much dirtier. So I'm not going to reuse it, but I don't even think I need to flush. I don't know. We might flush one time. I'm going to take this whole thing out, but I also want to remove this bad boy, because we want to take the whole hose out too and drain out and flush out the coolant reservoir. This is where the hose meets the radiator. This is where the cap normally goes. I took it off. We put it on a new cap. Oh, I totally forgot to mention, we already replaced the radiator cap and cleaned out the whole top. That didn't do anything. Why would it help? That would be too easy. Of course that's not going to help. That was easy. So this whole thing's going to come up now. This thing is plugged solid. There's all this crap here. Rust and stuff. Whoa. the other end now. I found this long-necked cleaner here in Goop Mechanic Hand Cleaner. I think this can get through the stuff I still see in the bottom. Alright guys, I'm just squeezing over the entrance and making it shoot out the bottom. I'm proving it's clear. Okay. Stick this back on. Alright, so I think this thing's clean-ish for now. We'll call that a job done. Look at that. Okay, there's a little clip you push down right here. It looks like it might free the whole thing. Yes! Alright, next we gotta remove the fuse bracket, which is right here. Maybe 12 millimeter? Yeah. Okay, got it. Now this one. Got it. How's holding? Oh. Alright. Remove lower radiator hoses from thermostat is next. Yeah, that's hard. Okay. Now we're going to hose right here. Alright guys, as you can see, this is our angle, and I'm reaching in like this, and I'm trying to get the bolts. Oh, there's 3 bolts, and you can see there's going to be one in the top right, one right here, and one hidden way down here. Yep, 10 millimeter it is. Alright, so I think it's easiest to get it on by hand first. And then get my tool on it. Hey, how many times does this screw need to come? Finally! That is a long screw! No way. We got it, boys. I busted cap. Alright guys, I just had to feel blindly so I could get the tool back on it. My socket couldn't remove it anymore because it was hitting the frame. So I have to unscrew it by hand using the socket extension and the socket. And it's coming freely. I already unscrewed it a lot of times. Got him! That's 2 down. The real bad one I can already tell is going to be the far left one. I don't even know how it's possible. Alright guys, so check it out. You got to go underneath the upper hose clamp, or upper hose intake, which is right here, but to the right of this engine thing. I don't even know what the heck it is. But it's something, and with the swivel, universal swivel joint thing, and then an extension, we can connect our tool right in here. So that's about as hard as it gets as far as angles, but we did it.
Okay, my sweet pea.
I don't know if I was getting it, boys.
Oh, buddy. Oh.
What?
No. I'm up there. See what's on. Oh. What is this? No. Which one is?
Alright, guys. I'm going to unbolt the tensioner pulley, which is this thing. It's got a bolt right here and two on the bottom, which I have to access from the bottom. I'm going to unbolt it just enough to try to move it outward enough to get a tool on this far left bolt of the thermostat, which we couldn't get before. We just need to create more space for ourselves. Alright, boys, so this is how I'm looking at it. Here's the two bolts. This is that same pulley. This is the tensioner pulley. So we gotta undo these two bolts next. Alright, so you have to remove the serpentine bolt. What the hell? Alright, so remove. Is this working over here? Yes, okay, and I'm gonna crack it to my left. Okay. Right. Alright, so I just backed out this screw way up. This is the center pulley screw of the tensioner, and now this whole thing's loose. So I'm hoping I got enough room now to get a bolt onto these two bottom, or the box end of a wrench onto the two bottom bolts. Then we can unscrew these two and pull the whole tensioner pulley this way a little bit. Hopefully get enough access then with that moved to be able to remove our thermostat. No, I'm doing this wrong. I gotta unbolt it from the top, and then I'll have full access with the socket wrench for this. Alright, so this is the top of the tensioner pulley again. We gotta unbolt this, and as we unscrew it, it will raise the whole pulley upward. Yep, 14 millimeter. Wow, now I know the answer.
I'm just teasing you. Is it easier? Okay, I'm gonna go change, baby.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm still trying to move that piece out of the way.
Oh, you're not removing everything?
I'm just moving the piece.
Okay.
So right now I'm loosening the tensioner pulley so I can pull off the serpentine bolt in order to access the bottom bolts of the tensioner pulley. Here, we were so close before, so I would think that even just giving us a little more wiggle room might be enough. The less we have to mess with the tensioner pulley, the better, in my opinion. Okay, so it was a 10 millimeter short extension and the swivel fitting. And coming in, I still don't think we'll be able to get it. Yeah, the thermostat is free. Yeah. All right, I'm taking off the factory metal cover. We don't want to use the paper one. We want to use this good factory one. This is important to keep. We gotta clean it up, though. What happened? I taped off the gasket with string, actually through. I used black string to go actually through the hole that the bolt will go through. And I tied it off up here so it's easy to access. I did two of them, so one through each of the two side bolts. This bottom bolt will be the first bolt I'll push through. Then I'll remove one string by removing this little piece of tape and pulling the string through, and then I'll insert that bolt. Once we have two bolts in, then the gasket will stay in place, but otherwise the gasket would not stay in place. It was impossible. Plus you're reaching way down in the engine. There's no way to keep that gasket in place unless we do this, or use some type of sealant, but I didn't know what sealant would be safe to use with this, so I didn't trust it. I didn't want to put silicone or anything to glue it down because that might cause a leak. I don't know if this needs to be just metal on metal on metal against the engine block. I wedged some paper towel down so if we drop a bolt we won't lose it, or we'll have a better chance of not losing it. I got it. It's all feel. I can only describe. I'm just feeling with my fingertips till the bolt goes through. That's all I can do. Even using a mirror just didn't really help. You have to remove the mirror to be able to get your hands in anyways. This is all blind work. You might as well be blind, literally, to do this. It's just... Okay. I'd say we're ready to remove one piece of tape now for the rightmost bolt, and we can pull the string out then for that bolt. Okay, that's out. Came out with the string like that. I cheated because I did this, and it's not going to be included in the video, and I failed. The way I aligned the string to have the tape way out here where it's accessible, before I had it way back in there, you got to put the tape where it's going to be accessible once it's down in here. Because once this thing enters under here, it's like the abyss. You can't see anything. This is all fingertip work. You just got to see in your mind what's going on and let your fingers do the feeling. Oh, I think I got it this time. The dental mirror helped. I could actually line up the holes and kind of know how to pivot the thermostat to make the holes line up right. Alright, pulling off the piece of tape and string, holding the gasket in place for the left bolt. Because we have two bolts in, so now we don't have to worry about Alright, we got that string out. That came out so easy. We don't have to worry about alignment. Since we got two bolts in, the gasket will for sure be aligned now. Alright guys, I'm going to remove the tensioner pulley because I can't get it tight enough. I don't feel comfortable with how tight I'm getting it. I'm just looking at the belt padding before I take it off. Oh, with the belt off, the pulley dropped way down. It might be out of our way now. It is out of our way now. Cool. This part dropped way out of the way. That's awesome. But now we got full access. We'll be fine now. I didn't know that would happen. Alright, I feel comfortable with that. I think that's tight enough. That means we installed it. Now let's try to get that back on. We never had to loosen these. Oh, actually we might have loosened them. I don't remember. Nice. Alright, we could tighten that down from the top now. See it pop back up. That's the tightening portion. Sorry about that. Alright. That's how tight it is. Probably like 15 foot-pounds I put on it. Alright, this is 15 millimeter. We're tightening this. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Next is the fuse bracket. Where is that? Alright. Fuse bracket insertion. Check. Yes. All right, so that's on. Now the reservoir. All right. Got to tighten that. All right, boys. They said you're supposed to tape it off so it's super tight on the bottom. That's what I saw. Okay, that's a snug fit. Okay, so we're going to start out with Radiator Flush Cleaner by Prestone. It says, can be used for a quick 10-minute flush or 3-day deep clean. Directions: with engine off and cool, drain radiator. Done. Pour contents into radiator and fill with water. For systems larger than 12 quarts, use 2 bottles. For heavy-duty cleaning, skip to step 4. To use this 10-minute flush, run engine with heater on high for 10 minutes after reaching operating temperature. Skip step 5. For heavy-duty cleaning, drive a total of 3 to 6 hours with your normal daily driving over a few days. Once cool, drain and refill with water. Run 10 minutes with heater on high. Once cool, drain radiator. Add enough concentrated antifreeze coolant to achieve a 50-50 mixture with water. Run engine to mix. Drain, rinse, and fill overflow tank with coolant. Supposed to put this stuff in with water and run the car a lot with the heat on blast. That will allow it to travel through the heater core in addition to traveling through the radiator, and it will flush out and loosen up all the crap for a neglected system. I don't know how neglected ours is, but it's probably pretty bad. Holy sh! Why is it doing that? It splashed me. That was weird. What the heck? It was like burping. That was weird. We're gonna add water.
Another one is just simple with making a bookmark. I had taught to read from this half page because I was behind, and now I have to read the next page.
Maybe they hear you.
It's a master's program.
Maybe they hear you. What do you gotta do? I'm working.
He's so... Take a picture of you. It's so funny, dude. Man, this...
Covering the opening because it keeps splashing. Hey, if there is a bad leak in the system, now would be a good time to see if we can find it. The driveway is pretty dry, so we can check periodically to see if there's like drip marks. It still looks pretty dry, so that means the system's not like dripping big time or anything. Just trying to cover all our bases. We had an overheating engine, so a dripping system wouldn't come as a complete shock. It's funny, it's drinking it like a person swallowing. So weird. I don't believe how much this is taken in. Okay. Turn it right to this one, better. Looks like it's done. First time it's not going down. Oh, it says you can also pinch the upper radiator hose to burp the system. Alright, so I'm going to pinch that. It did do something, that's interesting. Okay, didn't do that much, but it did do something. Made bubbles. Alright. Alright, the next step is to start the car. Burping it, pinching the upper radiator hose. The heater is working again. It's working great. So that's already evidence of some level of success here. Alright, I'm just going to run it for like an hour at 2,000 RPM, flushing the whole system, because the directions for the radiator flush fluid said to drive for 3 hours. So I figure an hour should be about good. Then we'll drain it out, we'll run the process again, drain it out, and then we'll fill it and we'll be done. But we're flushing out the system real good. Alright guys, so I was going to run the engine for a few hours here in the driveway, but then I decided why waste the gas. I'll just have my wife drive it for a few days, then I'll empty the system and refill it, and I'll just do that for like a week or whatever to really flush out the system well. Then we'll fill it up with coolant and we'll be done. From my testing, running it for that amount of time, I found that the temperature reading was a little bit below halfway, which is dead on. So I think we fixed it. And the heater also is working now. The heater did not work before at all. As soon as I changed out the thermostat, the heater was working great. So if the thermostat caused the heater not to work, then why wouldn't it also? That proved the thermostat was faulty. and I don't see any leaking. So I think I'm 80 to 90% sure that we fixed the engine overheating and the heater not working. For sure, the heater is working, so we for sure fixed that. And the engine overheating, it never overheated despite running it at 2,000 RPM for like half an hour multiple times. Never got even a bit above halfway, and that's a big change. So I think we fixed it. I think it was the thermostat. And I told you my plans for flushing it, so I think we can end this video.